In Rome, £40,000 goes up in smoke, and there's some things money just can't buy.
It's 4 weeks in the UK away from all the contamination. It extends their life by up to 2 years.
Come fly with me, let's fly away. If you can use some exotic booze on a far-flung holiday, come fly with me, let's fly away.
They didn't tell me I needed photographic evidence. It's not regulations without the whole of the UK. I've got to get on it to get my children. I've got ID, I've got all the rest of it. I've said I'll fax it. Please let me on the flight so I can get my kids. It's not compulsory in any other airline.
I'll have to put you on to the next one.
Sorry? I can't. My kids are on their own in Edinburgh. Please let me get there.
Gillian Waddell's due to pick up her 3 children from her parents in Scotland, but never having flown Easyjet before, she's arrived without any photographic ID.
It's not mandatory requirements throughout the UK. British Airways don't demand a driving licence is what's required.
Before you book the flight, you should you sign something and that actually said...
I haven't. My secretary booked it in the office, and I'm sorry about it, but I've got to get to my kids. And if you require photographic evidence, it's not like anybody else.
To make matters worse, she's supposed to drive the children back south overnight so they can fly on holiday to Spain from Heathrow tomorrow morning, and time isn't on her side.
No, I've got elderly parents who are there doing a good job until I get there. They have to leave at 7, and it's because I have to drive miles out of Edinburgh to pick them up, bring them all the way back in, and then drive 11 hours back down from Edinburgh to London in order for them to get a flight.
Okay, if you want to bear with me, managers come down and speak to you. Do you want to wait to the side?
With her passport locked up at home, Gillian's chances of getting her children off on holiday are looking slim. It's late morning, and Gatwick-based Captain Chris Pell has just finished his shift.
Well, just come in from Nice. Been up since 3:15 this morning, so feeling a bit jaded. But in approximately an hour and a half, we've got another supply of children coming in. Another group of children, I should say, from Belarus, for the Chernobyl Children Lifeline.
2 years ago, Chris and his wife Debbie took in 2 10-year-olds from Belarus. Their country was devastated by the Chernobyl nuclear disaster 20 years ago.
Right, here we go.
For the kids, it was an experience of a lifetime. This year at Gatwick, Chris and his wife Debbie are waiting for a new set of arrivals. But this time, they're being a bit more ambitious.
We have Ivan, who's 18, and Mikita. They're a family of 5 that are coming over, and the 3 other girls are Yana, Karina, and Diana. This particular family of 5 are orphans. Their mother died. They only had their mother, and she died at Christmas. And they're now living with the neighbour. So I think it'll give the neighbour a break, and it'll give them a little bit of time away.
It's not long before a wave of Belarusian children arrive, and Chris and Debbie make their introductions.
And this is Chris.
I'm Chris. Hello. How are you?
Is that yours?
Privyat. Chris.
I don't know who this is. Is this yours, darling?
Hello.
Ivan?
Privyat. Yes.
Do you know who this is?
Oh, they're wonderful children. I'll say hello to Ivan. Ivan.
Ivan, is it? Ivan.
Privyat.
OK. Do you want me to take that? Shall I hold it?
OK.
Shall I take it? Yeah?
Okay.
Cool.
Good.
OK.
Bristol Airport. Check-in for Inverness is open, and luggage is moving smoothly off down the ramp. Except that is for student Peter Loveday and his friends.
If you can get some kind of bubble wrap or packaging for them, then we'll accept them, otherwise we can't accept them.
Okay, how long have we got anyway?
We've got our 2 minutes, so by 12 o'clock.
Okay.
We're cycling John O'Groats to Land's End, and we've just been told we need boxes for our bikes. We haven't got any boxes, and we might not be able to fly, which is a bit of a pain.
Doing it for charity, so it's a real pain.
What charity are you doing it for?
A charity called the Melza James House, it's a children's hospice, so it's a good cause. But obviously we need to get our bikes on, otherwise we're not going to be able to do it. So if we get paid to drive.
What they really need are 4 80-pound padded bike bags, readily available from your local bike shop. But being students, they've come up with a slightly cheaper alternative. Cardboard boxes from Smith's. Oh, and a beach mat.
How sufficient? Do you have to cover the wheels or what?
It has to be pretty covered, because, I mean, if the pedals rip through that, we're talking about the whole of the aircraft getting damaged.
It's the time element. It's just we didn't plan on doing this. We thought it would be straightforward, take your bike on.
With limited packaging available, the boys have less than an hour to wrap their bikes securely.
Are you a manager?
Yes,
I'm
I
booked
am.
on at 4 o'clock to Edinburgh, right?
In Luton, Gillian Waddell's now trying to convince manager Leo Jones to let her on the Edinburgh flight.
The woman's told me I can't travel without ID. I have to get on the flight. I've got 3 children waiting on a very tight timetable so that I can pick them up, drive them back, then drive 11 hours back from Edinburgh to London.
What time does that Edinburgh flight go?
4 o'clock, 3 minutes ago.
You won't be able to get on the 4 o'clock flight now. Let me just make sure that one is on time. No, the flight's boarded now.
Please,
I can't get you on there.
Is it gone? Has it shut the doors?
It's irrelevant of gone or not because you don't have the correct ID with you. That's what's preventing us getting you on board the aircraft.
But if you give me a fax number, I could get my office to fax a copy to you right now.
We can't accept a fax. That's not an official form.
But I didn't know. Nobody else does this. British Airways don't do this. Nobody else does it. What can you do to help me?
I can happily give you a free transfer to a later flight when you can get us
I
a
can't
document.
get all the way home. I'll never get back for the 6 o'clock. It'll take 5 hours to get back from London.
Somebody courier it, maybe?
No, I haven't got money to spend £90 couriering it. I want to get enough money to get there. We're not made of money. Why do you think we can't get an Easyjet ticket?
We've got a couple more seats on the later flights.
And I
Can we
can't-
go ahead and sell them, or did you want one of them?
But I haven't got my passport. And you won't accept me without a passport.
What you're saying is you can't fly later on today.
I can't get back and
right.
forwards in
So
4.5
can we
hours. It
go
takes
ahead and
8
sell?
hours. Do what you want.
Officially, the flights are non-transferable or refundable, so we could have said you have lost everything. But we're not like that. We do have hearts. We try to help people where we can, but she just couldn't see it.
With her children's holiday hanging in the balance, Gillian now has a mad dash to Heathrow to catch an alternative flight.
I'll catch the 6:25, which will get me into Edinburgh at 7:35.
Yeah, all right.
I will then drive 2 hours to where my children are. We'll have been waiting for 4 hours. I will then jump in a car and drive all the way back down to London, breaking or risking our necks and all the rest of it in order to make the timetable. Thanks a lot, EasyJet.
In Weybridge, Surrey, Debbie Pell has arrived back home with some very tired visitors.
Asleep.
They sleep.
Yeah.
Must be absolutely shattered.
Absolutely shattered. And I think Mikita's fast asleep in here.
Is he?
Well, it's okay, don't worry, darling. You come on.
Oh, I believe it.
No, it's okay. It's a bit of mind your head. Okay? Ready? Don't know where that's gone.
They may be tired, but once inside, curiosity gets the better of them.
Good, I think they look fantastic, don't they? I mean, they look... I mean, obviously they're exhausted, but now they see the toys. It's a shame about the weather, that's the only thing.
Having braved temperatures of minus 35 in Belarus, the weather doesn't seem to bother the youngsters too much.
Oh, they come from a village life, very poor, very simple life. They live in a one-storey wooden shack in the countryside in Belarus. I think when the kids sort of turn up to our home and the house they're staying in, it would be mind-boggling for them.
It really helps children coming over here because 4 weeks in the UK away from all the contamination that's still in Belarus extends their life by up to 2 years. So physically it's going to help them, as well as just having a great time.
At Bristol, the boys have been busy wrapping their bikes in, well, whatever they can lay their hands on.
May not look pretty, but as long as it works.
But it's supervisor Michelle who's going to have to OK the wrapping before they can check in.
Unusual wrapping. I think I need a little bit more tape round. Yeah, just to make it look... It's quite bizarre, actually.
As long as I get the pedal up.
Yes, if you can get that out of the way, that's fine. Yeah, cool. I think perhaps the guys worked on Blue Peter at some time or another. It's quite bizarre, but it's better than nothing.
Michelle's fairly forgiving, which is good, because the reason for the Demelza James House charity trip is more heartfelt than Peter first let on.
James is my cousin, and he died of a terminal illness called MPS when he was 11 years old. And they set up, my auntie and uncle set up a charity called James House in order to help children. And I thought it was a worthy cause to support, so that's why I'm getting some money for that, so. Nearly done. John, how's things coming along?
I'm running low on coffee.
With only one bike covered and another 3 to go, the boys are rapidly running out of time.
The truth is that if we run out of cardboard, we can't go on this trip, unfortunately. So it's a major emergency.
Edinburgh.
Edinburgh. Where is your hotel?
The city centre of the Belfast.
Right, you're not going to... Do you have anything photographic at all? Any photographic ID? Because you can't travel without it.
Sunghwa Zhao has been travelling with friends from Newcastle. She's booked on the last flight from Belfast to Edinburgh, but she's left her passport at a hostel in the city centre.
What's your advice?
The only thing would be really tomorrow morning's flight. The only thing I can suggest is that you dash to Belfast, come back. I'll be here till at least 9:30, 10 o'clock, and we'll see what we can sort out for you when you come back, if you've missed all the flights. But I mean, then you're going to be coming all the way back to then maybe not get on a flight. It's up to you whether you'd be safer to change to tomorrow's flight.
I go back to Belfast if the time is not enough. Just change tomorrow morning.
Change to tomorrow morning, yeah. Okay, so we'll see you when you get back. Fingers crossed.
With less than an hour to make a return trip to the city centre, time's going to be tight. In Bristol, having completely run out of cardboard, the boys' efforts have stalled and Michelle's not impressed.
That's awful. We have a plethora of packaging. Finish off with a bit of plastic from a drinks bottle over on that side. I think we might have to do a little bit better with that one.
But luckily, Peter and John have rustled up a substitute. More beach mats.
These are our beach mats. Going to come in quite handy on the tour, I'm sure. But yeah, hopefully we'll cover our bikes. So.
We have 10 minutes, lads, to check in on this flight.
One more time. Is that ready?
Yeah, that's fine. We'll get you that checked in. Yeah, we can. It's like it's a knockout. Who's going to get the bike first so they can get it on board? I think because it is for a charity bike ride, we've been extra lenient here because it's not the best. Any more passengers travelling to Inverness?
With only minutes to spare, the boys and their alternative bike bags are finally allowed to check in.
Are we all in? Done and done. Too sweet, then. We're boarding in about 2 seconds. Thanks a lot, lads.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, oh, we got them on. Well, there's about 30 seconds before boarding.
Over in Belfast, Sunghwa Zhao and her friends should be well on their way to the hostel, but there's been a change of plan.
So can she change
to Newcastle? Maybe the
Newcastle, you still need to be back here for 5 to 9 to get on the Newcastle flight.
Just wait here.
Sunghwa has now decided to try and catch the last flight to Newcastle with her friends and spend the weekend with them.
For this hostel to tell them.
This one here?
Yes. And
to make sure she gets that flight, she wants the hostel to send her passport direct by taxi.
Can you remember your room number?
28.
28.
27.
26.
27.
27.
Yes.
Oh, hello, my name's Tracy. I work for Easyjet at Belfast International Airport. I have a passenger here who has left their passport in your hostel. Is there any way that you could put that in a taxi and get it to the airport, and the passenger will pay for the taxi once it arrives? It's just otherwise she isn't going to be able to travel tonight. Thanks for your help now. Thank you. Bye. They definitely have your passport there. He's going to ring me back and try and arrange to get the passport in a taxi as quickly as possible. So as soon as he rings me back, we'll go from there and see what we can do for you, OK?
The hostel's happy to help, but will the taxi arrive in time? At East Midlands Airport, a rather unusual national team are about to check in for a flight to Rome.
I'll just count to 6 this time.
We've had our successes in cricket and rugby. Now it's the turn of Andrew Wiggins and Rodney Clark to lead England to glory in the Fireworks World Cup.
Yeah, it's quite a big competition. It's a very prestigious event. There's lots of different countries taking part.
We're up against countries like France and Italy, Brazil, Spain. So, yeah, we want to win it.
Thankfully, they're not taking everything they need today. Around £40,000 worth of fireworks.
The fireworks have already left. They went overland. We loaded them onto a 45-foot articulated lorry, so we're not actually taking them on the plane with us. We meet them over there.
With the fireworks en route and morale high, there's only one thing bothering Andy.
I think all the judges are Italian, actually, which may or may not be a good thing. They may be as honest as the day is long and be completely fair. But they know their fireworks, that's for sure. And hopefully, at the end of the day, they'll make the right decision.
At Gatwick, the morning flight to Inverness is getting ready to leave. And pilot Chris Pell's expecting some special guests. Wife Debbie has arrived with an entourage of children to check in.
The plan is that my son Jamie and my daughter Emmy and the 5 orphan kids for the Chernobyl Children Lifeline meeting me on board the aircraft any second now, and we're on our way out to Inverness into a hotel, and then we're going to go dolphin watching later on today.
In the UK, we might take a trip to the seaside for granted, but for the children, it's much more than just a day out.
Belarus is a landlocked country, and of course these kids have never seen the sea before, let alone a beach or waves, and I guess they all might get a bit seasick, including me.
Amelia, that's you, and that's nice.
Thank you very much. That's really kind.
Okay, thank you. Hello.
Once on board, the kids are greeted by their very own pilot.
Go on, Yvonne. Do you want to go look with Chris? Go with Chris, Makita.
One of the advantages of that is you get a quick peek in the cockpit before you take off. And up in the air, the VIP treatment doesn't let up.
Hello, Debbie, how are you?
Fine. Yeah, really good, thank you very much.
How are you all? You okay? I've got you all a little present from Easyjet.
Oh, thank you, Chris.
Okay, well, there we go. This one for you.
Oh, thank you. That's really kind.
Little presents.
Press the button. Here we are. Do you pull that out? That's the battery. All right. And then you press... Ah! You do that? Jamie, do you want me to help you with yours?
While some of the kids are liking the attention, for others, it's a bit much.
Okay, this is Chris here for the Chernobyl children. Hope you have a lovely time back there. We'll be on the ground for about half an hour. I hope you've been good. I'll see you soon.
Blushes aside, the kids are in for a great day out. Meanwhile, back on the ground in Belfast, the Newcastle flight is about to leave. And there's still no sign of Sunghwa's passport.
Little know us.
Just 50 minutes left.
With check-in about to close, it's not looking good.
Oh, yeah, that's it. Hello? Okay, hello? This way? Hello? Hello? Sir?
Just a
Is
sec.
it just for the passport?
Are you want to pay that?
Yeah. How much?
25.
25? Okay, thank you very much,
okay,
sir.
all the best.
Okay. Oh.
The taxi might have arrived, but is it too late?
Hello? Hi there. Yes. So, passport is here.
Right, do you want to go to
I should
Newcastle?
do next? Yes,
Newcastle. I'll transfer you both on to the Newcastle jet, no problem. So at least you're getting to fly.
Thank you very much.
No problem.
She may not be going to Edinburgh, but with the delights of Newcastle's nightlife ahead, Sunghwa's not too disappointed.
There are a lot of light club in Newcastle. Just to celebrate for today, maybe.
You might go clubbing.
Yes, of course.
It's my hometown. I love Newcastle.
Your hometown?
Yes, that's where I'm from.
After a stressful hour, Sunghwa and her friends are clear for takeoff.
Right, have you finished that yet?
Making the final connection.
In Valmontone on the outskirts of Rome, the British fireworks team have been working through the night in their bid for the World Championship.
They're mad. They've been up since yesterday morning, probably about 48 hours before they go to bed. All for 26 minutes.
To get those 26 minutes, 2 tons of fireworks need to be wired and connected to a computer. A seemingly mammoth task, but Andy's not worried.
I'm feeling very confident if we manage to get the show out and wire it in how it should be. I'm very confident that we're going to do well.
As darkness falls, the crowds gather, and it's time for the team to see if all their hard work has paid off.
Ready, arm, and 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, fire.
Gillian Waddell caught the flight to Edinburgh and made it back in time with the children for their holiday to Spain. The bikes got to Inverness in one piece, allowing Peter Loveday and his friends to raise £2,000 for charity. And the British fireworks team weren't at all surprised to find that, according to the Italian judges, it was the Italians who came first.